Somebody took care of it.
And welcome to episode 12 of Elite Aficionados, where we always broadcast live from the friendly confines of Elite Cigar, Rowlett, Texas. I'm your host, Matt Thornton, along with my cigar aficionado, Doc Trey Andrews, our spirits aficionado, famous Roger Amos, and we have special guest Paul Costo with a fantastic Oliva Cigar Company. Welcome as well. We will pair that Oliva with Glenlivet Nadura First Fill Single Malt Scotch tonight. We're also talking Texas Rangers' big moves and Dallas Cowboys' loss to the Denver Broncos. Really excited to have you here tonight, Paul. Thanks a lot for showing up. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We always like to ask our guests their first question. When did you have your first cigar, and what was it, sir?
Well, I'm embarrassed to say it was not a premium cigar.
That's okay. You know what? That's actually fairly common. Swisher Sweets, Black and Milds are frequently spoken, so no worries.
But I had it back in the early 90s with a couple of my Air Force buddies. They were rehabbing a car, and they found a pack of it in the trunk.
Oh, no.
So we broke them out and smoked them.
Nice.
And you still smoke cigars.
Right. I bet they were nice and
they were a little crispy.
Yeah, right.
She didn't know any better, right?
Yeah. But that was when Cigar Aficionado was first coming out.
Okay.
My buddy bought a magazine, and we all dove into it. And my first premium cigar was one called the Licenciado.
Okay.
Which got like a really high rating back then.
All right.
Great.
That was my first good cigar. You redeemed yourself.
Yeah. But dove into it and had a great time.
What year was that? Was that how many years ago?
It was probably 94.
94. There you
18
go.
or 19?
Already.
That wasn't even me this time.
Old jokes.
Already shots fired and shade thrown. Where'd you grow up, Paul?
Niagara Falls, New York.
Niagara Falls. Okay. And what brought you down to Dallas, Texas?
I was in the Air Force after high school for 11 years, and this is where I settled.
Very, very cool.
I don't know that you had to settle here, but cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's the greatest country in the place on earth. So there you go.
It's not bad.
Great to have you. Excited. We'll get to know you a little better. Also, Oliva G Cameroon cigar. Trey, tell us about the cigar. I'm excited. I can't wait to light it up.
So, great stick. I don't dislike anything that Oliva makes, and this Cameroon is, to me, it's one of the, I guess, placeholders when it comes to Cameroons, right? There's a lot of Cameroons out there that taste a little dirty, a little earthy. And to me, this one has always kind of stood above most everything else on the market.
So more like a benchmark versus a placeholder.
There you go.
Like the benchmark for Cameroons, what a Cameroon should be.
My vocabulary sucks, but yeah, that's what I meant to say. But yeah, it's a great stick, man. It's got a little sweetness to it. It's nice medium bodied, and it's great. And we were looking at this whiskey, and we're trying to figure out what to pair it with. And we had the tasting notes, and I said, man, we should do a Cameroon. And right away, I thought, man, I think one of the best Cameroons out there is going to be from Oliva. And I guarantee you, Paul Costo is probably not traveling, so we could probably get him on the show.
There you go.
Shot two.
There you go. So Cameroon. It seems like for the unknown, the unpracticed, seems like Cameroon has a kind of a moniker about it. What is that? What's special or different about a Cameroon?
So Cameroon, for most companies, is grown in Africa, Cameroon, Africa.
Gotcha.
Not many other tobaccos are grown there that people use for premium cigars, but it does have, like I said, it's got an inherent sweetness to it.
Yeah.
And when it's blended well, it is really, really nice. But like I was saying a while ago, some of them tend to have a little earthiness, a little dirt kind of note to it. And it's not a very welcoming flavor profile.
Got it.
But the way that these guys do it, it's a really good cigar.
Very cool.
And honestly, it's weird because this isn't even your highest rated cigar, your most popular cigar, but it's absolutely incredible.
It's definitely a staple in the line.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a very expensive wrapper.
Yeah.
Being grown over there and having the truck over here.
Oh, interesting.
But it's not an expensive cigar.
No.
Yeah. We got a pretty wide line, and it comes in around $7 for the most part.
Right.
So.
Why did you guys choose Cameroon? Is it just it's a place where that wrapper specifically it's well made, people like it? Is that why? Because I think this might be the first African associated cigar that we've tasted on Elite Aficionados.
Not a lot of people make Cameroon wrapper cigars.
Okay. Okay.
And we did it right from the very beginning, and just it's so unique because you, like he said, you get this sweetness from it.
Yeah.
And there's no other wrapper like it.
Gotcha. Yeah. What about the binder and the filler?
That's all Nicaraguan, all grown on our farm. So
Okay. We know all about Nicaragua with the volcanic dirt, right?
Yep. And one of the great things about Oliva as a company is they're actually vertically integrated.
Oh,
Which
interesting.
means they grow their own tobacco, they make their own cigars, they distribute their own cigars, they have their own sales force. And there's really, I mean, you could count on both hands how many companies out there are vertically integrated.
Interesting.
So it's something that you guys should be super proud of.
Right.
absolutely.
So you farm, you grow, you do all the kind of, because a lot of the other cigars we've had on is an Aganorsa leaf, right?
Right.
They use
Made
those
by Aganorsa or made
yeah.
by Placencia or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. These guys do everything
It's
themselves.
very cool. So Oliva is vertical. One more time.
Vertically integrated.
Vertically integrated. There you go.
And you said you didn't have any big words.
Yeah, I know.
That's two big words in a row.
That's very encyclopedia-like of you, my friend. So, Paul, tell us a little bit about some of the other offerings that Oliva has. Obviously, great offering here. What else do you have on the docket?
We got a pretty wide spectrum of lines, everything from nice and mild all the way to very full-bodied. We actually started out making bundles.
Oh, okay.
Which is a lesser price cigar, doesn't come in the fancy box, and so that's where we started. And then from there, we came out with the Series G and then Series O, which are both medium to medium full-bodied cigars. We have a Connecticut Reserve, which is a nice mild offering
With a lot of flavor.
Very nice.
Great
Very
Connecticut.
nice. Cigar.
So that's a great cigar to start your day off, or for a novice smoker to start out with. Goes great with coffee. And then we came out with what's called the Series V,
Okay.
which when that came out, that changed things for us. It was our first full-bodied cigar, very robust, delicious. After that, we got a subline of the V called the Series V Milanio, which when that came out,
Game changer.
game changer. It was the #1 cigar of the year in 2014.
Wow. Congrats.
So that just took off.
They've got multiple top 5 picks almost every year with
Wow.
the V. There's different sizes.
Yeah, it's
It's an incredible cigar, man.
Wow.
Natural and Maduro. They're both really, really good.
and then just recently this year we bought some old trademarks from a old cigar maker called Rolando Reyes.
Oh, okay.
He had some lines called Cuba Aliados and Puros Indios, and he wasn't doing anything with those, so we bought those trademarks. And at the trade show a couple months ago, we released 2 lines under the Cuba Aliados name,
Right.
but we partnered with 2 other manufacturers to make those for us. Trey is very fond of one called Ernesto Perez Carrillo.
EPC.
Yeah.
They make a limited offering of the Cuba Aliados he's got in the humidor right now.
Gotcha.
And then a little later on, probably later on this month or next month, we're coming out with one that Justo Arroyo makes.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's going to be the Honduran original blend. And
Wow.
that'll be
Justo makes the Aladino cigars.
Yeah.
And we do extremely well with his cigars too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
two phenomenal blenders that we're happy
Absolutely.
to be working with, and it'll broaden our line a little bit.
I like Aladino and I like Honduran cigars, so
Yeah.
should be right in my alley.
Very cool. So this Cameroon, it tastes fantastic.
You get the little sweetness in it, or-
You definitely get the sweetness. Very unique. You're right. It's a very unique flavor.
But it's an inherent sweetness on the tobacco. It's not like
Casing.
it's not dipped. It's not a
Right.
a flavored cigar. But with the Cameroon specifically, you do get a little sweetness on it all the way through. But it's not a overpowering manufactured sweetness. It's actually a delicious wrapper. Again, if it's made properly and blended properly.
Yeah. And one of the things I always like about a good cigar is the draw. Draw is just perfect.
Yep.
It's absolutely perfect. I'm not struggling to draw at all. Nothing like that. It's a really, really well-made cigar, of course. First time you had it with Glenlivet Nadura Scotch,
Yes.
Paul? Yeah. Yeah.
Good pairing.
Good pairing.
Yeah. 'Cause you get the
these-
sweetness from that too.
No,
Yes.
these guys knock
We
it
did
out of
it
the
again.
park every time. It's amazing. That's why it's
That boy good.
cigar aficionado. These two put them together quite well. Absolutely. Being from New York, I got to ask you: Are you a Dallas sports guy, or do you follow all your New York?
Here we
sports?
go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get
Buckle up, folks.
I get shit for this more than anything.
Okay.
He's a bandwagoner.
I'm a Boston Red Sox fan.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. Not expected.
Okay. I'm a Boston Bruins fan. Hockey.
All right.
Football. I might get killed for this. I just started becoming a Buffalo Bills fan.
Bills.
I was
All
raised
right.
there.
Okay.
My dad hated them.
Yeah.
Hated them, so I couldn't be a Bills fan and live in that house.
But
Yeah.
you were a Miami
I was
fan
a Miami
for a
fan.
while.
I got sick of it. I got sick
Okay.
of their stuff, so I
You jumped off.
yeah.
But now the Buffalo's good again.
Right. Oh, I
So
see.
Miami fan when Marino was there, Buffalo fan now
Yeah.
that they're
I'm
second
embracing
fiddle-
my roots finally.
second fiddle to the Chiefs, but it's okay.
And who's your favorite college football team?
Yeah.
Boomer Sooner, baby.
Wow.
It makes no
And-
sense.
and do you have any
Zero U.
ties to Oklahoma University, or
No,
you just went to Walmart and bought one of their shirts?
Shot 3.
Copy
I should have wore a cup to this thing. Man. No, I never really followed college football until
All right.
I moved to Texas. And I used to work at a cigar shop, and one of the guys said, "Hey, you want to go see a game with me?"
Okay.
His whole family was fanatics.
All right.
I went there and had the best time I ever had. So
I
I was
see.
like, man,
All
I'm
right.
on board.
So good job. This guy, he takes you to a
Yeah.
OU game, and then you fell in love with the. I mean, it's a little weird. You're living in Texas. You're following Oklahoma.
Sounds like that guy
I
might be a
mean,
jackass. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't know. They're steering you the wrong way, man.
I like to stir the pot. so.
Yeah, clearly.
Also true.
I
Clearly.
mean, the Sooners though, that's Oklahoma, right? So
yeah.
they're all in. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
College football is a big deal anyway.
Well,
If you're in Oklahoma, Nebraska, some of these, that's all they've got.
they don't
right.
have a pro team. That's exactly right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they are just diehard. You're either Oklahoma State or Oklahoma OU, and I mean that's just how
Yeah.
they live up there.
Alabama's got a pro team.
Do they?
Yeah, their college football team.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Well, fair point. Alabama probably could beat the Miami Dolphins these days.
They probably could.
Probably.
I wish they would.
Come on, it was another shot. We're Paul.
No, I'm off that
We're
bandwagon,
just,
man.
we're just taking shots left and right. Well, you did mention bundle cigars on Trey's take in our next segment, bundle cigars versus premium cigars. And then, of course, Roger's going to go into Glenlivet and Nadura First Fill Single Malt Scotch. Thank you so much I put the full name on there.
Yeah,
just
all
for you,
the
Roger.
words. I appreciate it.
Just for you, because that's how you like it. So, but we're going to go after the break. We're going to talk about those things. But quickly before we go there, any big announcements coming out of Oliva in the near future?
Well, the Cuba Aliados release, that was the biggest one.
Okay.
We have a couple other things that we introduced at the show. We have a new Melanio sampler, which is really cool. It has 6 different Melanios, 3 natural, 3 Maduro, and it has 2 unreleased Lanceros in there.
Nice. Okay.
So-
in sampler, it's in the bag. You can buy them.
No,
all
it's in a
together.
box.
It's in a
Oh,
nice
it's in a box.
Great
Beautiful
presentation.
presentation. Yeah.
Very cool.
So it's not a house-made sampler. It's like a legit
Yeah.
sampler from the factory.
And
No,
I don't
and
no one
honestly,
puts Melanio in a bag.
There you go.
with the 4 cigars in the middle, besides the 2 unreleased Lanceros,
Yeah.
it's almost the same price as buying if you bought those separately as the entire sampler, and you're getting 2 Lanceros that you cannot get.
Oh,
And
wow.
I'm a Lancero whore, and I'm pretty impressed with the sampler.
You like the Lancero sampler. All right. Well, we're excited. Definitely glad to have Paul here. Oliva Cigars. Come back right after these messages. We're going to do Trey's Take, bundle cigars versus premium cigars, and talk about this Glenlivet and Nadura First Fill Single Malt Scotch. Can't wait. Come back right after these messages.
Yeah.
It tastes like it wouldn't work.
And welcome back to Elite Aficionados, episode 12. I'm your host, Matt Thorne, along with famous Roger Amos, Doc Trey Andrews, and Paul Costo from Oliva Cigar Company. But before we do that, bundle cigars, premium cigars, what's the difference? Trey's Take it away, my friend.
So bundle versus premium can be a little tricky because some brands actually do bundle cigars that are full leaf, cigars. They're just lower price point, usually come in bundles versus boxes. A lot of times it's leftover tobaccos. Some companies actually base their entire company on bundles.
Really?
And like Paul said, that's how they started their company, right? And the Flor de Olivas, which is the cigar he was talking about, is still one of the best bundle cigars that you're ever going to find anywhere. But there's also a bunch of other companies that do their bundle cigars that is called mixed fill or Cuban sandwiches.
Okay.
And what that means is they take the leftover scraps from their premium cigars that they make, and instead of throwing that tobacco away, they use it to make lower end cigars. They put a long leaf binder and then all of the scraps for the filler in there.
Right.
And you're buying basically a $3, $4 cigar.
Got it.
So the difference is some people consider a budget cigar to be in that $3 to $5 range. And in today's market with cigars, it's hard to find a cigar at that price point that is going to be considered a premium cigar.
Okay.
And honestly, to give Paul and his company credit, their bundle cigar, the Flor de Olivas, is probably the closest to a premium cigar in the bundle world.
Got it. Okay.
But the difference is most people, right? If you're not a budget cigar smoker all the time, you're going to get your bundle cigars to smoke on the golf course, smoke while you're mowing the yard.
Got it. Okay.
If you've got a 100 count cigar humidor, but you've only got 25 to 30 premium cigars, buy you a bundle to put in there because it actually, we talked about this the other day in the humidification process.
Right.
You need to have your humidor at least halfway full for them to humidify properly because they feed on themselves.
Right.
And that's what a lot of guys use bundles for. Now, at this location, we actually don't have any bundle cigars.
Okay.
My humidor is not quite as big as my other two locations, right?
Sure.
I've got about 325, 350 square feet in my humidor, whereas our other two are right around 700 to 800.
Mm-hmm.
So they do really, really good sales in bundle cigars in Plano and in Addison.
Sure.
I just don't have room here for them.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
But we sell a ton of bundle cigars,
Okay.
a ton. And we get guys that come in all the time and they're looking for a good budget cigar that they're not going to break the bank on.
Yeah.
And even though some of these cigars are short filler or Cuban sandwiches, still it's a good cigar, right?
Okay. So the idea with a bundle is, you're multitasking. You don't really have the opportunity to maybe sit down and fully enjoy the cigar. Right. You're mowing, you're at the golf course. It's something that you're just there to smoke it. You want to enjoy it, of course, but you don't want to break the bank on it because you don't have the time to stop and really enjoy it.
Or
I got you.
Or you have a lot of nice cigars,
okay,
and you have people coming over to your house
who
who don't smoke cigars, but they want to smoke a cigar with you.
Okay.
You're not going to give them your premium cigar.
Right.
You can.
They want to appreciate it.
They want to appreciate it.
Yeah.
So you can give them a bundle cigar, and they can enjoy the experience of smoking a cigar.
So one of my
with an aficionado.
Got it.
One of my selling points whenever we sell somebody a humidor, or they come in and say they're having problems with their humidor actually keeping humidification.
Right.
We tell them, well, it needs to be at least halfway full.
Okay.
And I actually tell them, not just because Paul's here, but like buy you a bundle of Flor de Olivas, put that in there, put your premium cigars on your top tray or whatever, right?
Right.
And when you have friends come over that don't normally smoke, give them a Flor de Oliva.
There you go.
It will probably be the best cigar they've ever had, right? But you're not going to give them one of your $10, $15 cigars because they're going to smoke half of it. They're going to put it out, and you're going to be extremely upset,
right?
Because that's money that you spent that they're not appreciating.
Right.
Right.
I got you.
You're going to be mad at them. It's going to be a whole thing.
Absolutely.
You're going to ruin the party.
It's going to be awkward.
Family's not going to talk for 6 months.
Story of my life.
Good to know. So, but to your point, I think what I'm hearing you say is, bundle cigars, you're not less than.
No,
you're just,
not at all.
It's just for a different purpose.
Right.
You're taking the great cigar, you're using it for a different purpose.
Right.
And then is the bundle, I know this is probably going to be an obvious question, but I got to ask it. The bundles are always in those bundles, or do bundles come in boxes as well?
There are a few cigars that should be classified as bundles
Fair.
that are actually hidden boxes.
Fair point.
Am I wrong, Paul?
Fair point.
No, you're not wrong.
Okay. All
But
right.
yeah, and the thing is, if you look at what it costs to cellophane a cigar,
Yeah.
put a barcode on a cigar, put it in a box, all of those prices add up, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And when it lands in the U.S., that increases their cost, which increases the cost on the retail side.
Got it.
So most of them, and you guys do a great job because everything is actually barcoded,
Yeah.
which as a retailer, that makes my life a ton easier.
Right.
Otherwise, we've got to print out our own barcodes, stick them on them, put them up there, because we have 16 employees across 3 stores.
Sure.
And if they grab a cigar that doesn't have a barcode on it,
Yeah.
sometimes they're not going to get up and
Yeah,
go see
right.
what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So they'll ring it up as whatever they think it is.
Yeah.
Well, not only could we be losing money, or the customer could be spending more than they should,
Right.
but then my inventory is trashed.
Right.
And there's a few companies out there that even make premium cigars that they don't care about us with that matter, and it drives me nuts. But yeah, that's usually the case. It usually comes in bundles,
Gotcha.
and that's, they call them bundle cigars. And
Okay.
it can be a negative connotation because sometimes, like the Florida Olivas, it's a good enough cigar that
Right.
it could come in boxes, no problem.
Good.
But it is still a bundle cigar.
Good.
You want to keep the price down. There's an economic factor too.
Sure.
You have all this extra tobacco that you don't want to necessarily put in a premium cigar.
Right.
It could be a color blemish. You want to use that. Plus, you have new rollers you have to train.
Yep.
Oh,
And you'll train 'em on the bundle cigars. You're not
interesting.
gonna have
Oh,
'em-
that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so-
Okay.
I would think from a manufacturing perspective, a bundle cigar or a loose leaf Cuban sandwich, whatever, might actually be a little bit more difficult to roll properly
It can be.
because you got all that extra crap. You got to make sure that it's in
Absolutely.
there just right.
And a lot of
Roll it,
them don't
you know?
draw properly, and
Yeah.
that's why.
You got like
that's
a chunk here, loose
Yeah.
here, yeah. So,
But
it's
the
a
last
great
point that I want to make on this whole thing is most companies that do bundles,
Yeah.
their profit margin is not great.
Oh,
And the reason that they do it is because they need to have enough business to keep their rollers busy, right?
Oh, interesting.
But when
Okay.
COVID happened,
Yeah.
supply went down, demand went up.
Yeah.
So now most of these companies are focusing just strictly on their premium product, getting back up to par.
Got it.
So a lot of guys actually, the bundle cigars are on back order for God knows how long.
Wow.
And it's been a little bit of an
Yeah.
issue for
Yeah.
some of our customers. That's what they buy.
Very
And when we don't have them, they get upset with us. We're like, look, these companies aren't making them right now because they're focusing on getting back to where they need to be with their premium cigars.
Yeah,
Very
we
cool.
didn't produce any bundles
Yeah.
during COVID.
We were on back order for a while.
Wow. Interesting.
Not now, because I just got about 7,000 Florida Olivas from you today.
My wife thanks you.
There you go. Miss Costas. All right. So thank you so much, Trey. Great take. Bundle cigars versus premium cigars. So you know what? They're great cigars. They come in different ways. So awesome stuff. Great insight. Glenlivet Nadura first fill single malt Scotch, Roger.
Yeah,
That's the last time I'm going to say this. That's it.
Thank
After
God.
this,
That's
it's just
a lot of
Glenlivet.
words.
Yeah.
it's a lot of words.
Tell us about this awesome whiskey.
The Glenlivet. So,
yes.
couple things. I got quite a bit to say about this Scotch. The first Scotch I ever had on purpose, outside of J&B, stealing
On
it.
purpose.
Yeah, stealing it out of my dad's liquor cabinet, if you want to call it that, was J&B crap. It was
Oh,
garbage.
horrible.
Right. So, shout out to my father-in-law. His father passed away several years ago, and I know that he liked Scotch.
Okay.
So I went to a liquor store and I had actually read a book where the main character was drinking the Glenlivet. I'm like,
He didn't read a book. We know better.
I read a lot of books. I used to read. I'm a huge nerd. Are you kidding me? I like Dungeons and Dragons. So
There you go.
let's put it all out there. Anyway,
Luckily, he's already married.
yes, for sure, absolutely. Thank God. Anyway, so I knew that he liked Scotch, and I knew of the Glenlivet, and it's supposed to be a premium Scotch. So I went and bought a bottle, like a half a fifth, and took it to him, and we had something like, this is horrible. But I was dumb. This is back when I used to drink whiskey. I'd take shots, chase it, whatever alcohol I could get on when I was a kid. That's kind of what we did. But until Trey turned me on to something better. But be that as it may, I've come a long way in my journey since then. And one day I decided I wanted a Scotch. I wanted a nice, fruity, light body Scotch, and I knew that the Speyside, we've talked about Speyside
Right.
before.
Yeah.
I knew that the Glenlivet's a Speyside. It's a nice fruity, light bodied, non-peaty Scotch.
Yep.
And I saw this on there. It said the Glenlivet Nadura. I've never heard of the Nadura. What is this? I have no
Don't
idea.
know. Yeah.
So I picked it up, brought it to the shop. We drank it. I'm like, holy crap, this is really good. It comes in at 120 proof.
Woo.
You would have never guessed that, would you?
Right.
No,
You have no idea
Yeah.
you're drinking, 60% alcohol Scotch.
Wow.
We will in about 30 minutes.
Right.
Maybe, we might.
Show
But
gets better, isn't it?
as with most Speysides, it's going to be light bodied. It's going to be fruity. It's going to be floral, honey, but not going to be a ton of peat. There's like no peat.
Almost none. Yeah.
Okay.
Almost no
Yeah.
peat.
Yeah.
And, I knew I wanted to do this Scotch. It's a fantastic Scotch. Trey said, let's do the Oliva G. And, with the Oliva G, with the sweet notes, with the earth without being dirty.
Yep.
Right. Honey, floral. It's just great.
Yeah,
It's
nice.
super, super good. So, I like it a lot. I actually almost couldn't come up with it.
Oh, okay.
So apparently people have discovered that Glenlivet
Oh.
Nadura is a fantastic Scotch.
Okay.
I've been looking for this Scotch for a while. I knew we had this episode coming up. I couldn't find it.
Uh-oh.
Literally found it today.
Nice.
Thank God.
All right.
We almost had to do Glenlivet 12, which would have been a fine
That's
Scotch as
not
well.
bad. That's
Would have
not
been really, really good. But luckily I found this. Ordered it online. I'm going to pick it up after work. I'm driving home. I'm like, God darn it, they're going to send me a text that it's unavailable. I got a text like, shit, what is this? Oh, yeah, they got it.
Nice.
So, yeah, we got the Glenlivet Nadura, and it's pairing really, really nice. It's just a fantastic Scotch, man.
Why the Nadura? What is Nadura? Is that a region? Is that, And
Nadura-
I'm going to put on you.
Yeah, no, Nadura stands for natural.
Oh,
In
okay.
Gaelic, Nadura means natural.
Natural.
It's just
Got it.
it's just a clean.
That's my people's language.
It's just clean and natural. It tastes like good earth.
Got it.
It tastes like floral. It tastes like sweet earth. It tastes like pear. It tastes like honey. It's just delicious.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just
What-
fantastic.
what does the first fill mean?
So I should have researched that a little bit more. I don't know. I don't.
Obviously, they filled it before the
I'm-
others.
I'm- yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
I'm going to assume.
Way to kick somebody else in the nuts. I like it.
Right. Yeah. Way to put them on the spot. Good job.
Yeah. I'm
Some
going to
good
assume
job.
that this is like the first bit out of that batch. This is the primo. This is like the top of the barrel.
got it.
This
Yeah.
is the good stuff.
Right.
This isn't the crap at the bottom. Not that Glenlivet makes any crap, but this is.
There's also no second fill. I don't know if you knew that.
There's
Not if you're
not a second fill.
Fair enough.
What is there a third fill?
Maybe.
I don't
Maybe.
know.
There may be a second fill, and it may be like a bottle pick, like a bottle titled from Specs or from Total Wine
Right.
or something like that, where the Glenlivet or Costco,
Costa.
shot
Yeah.
4.
There you go.
It's equal opportunity, boys and girls.
All night.
But anyway, so yeah, the first fill I'm assuming, but I'm probably right. It's like it's the top of the line.
Nice.
It's the top
That's
of the
great.
barrel. Throw it in there, age it, and it's fantastic.
Well, it tastes fantastic. Thank you. Of course, famous Roger Amos, always coming through with the great whiskey. Hey, after these messages, we're going to have a Rogers Ramble. Why not Scotch? Talk a little Dallas Cowboys lost to Denver Broncos. Why the preseason never matters. All right, come back right after these messages. And welcome back to episode 12 of Elite Aficionados. I'm your host, Matt Thornwell, famous Roger Amos, Dr. Andrews, and Paul Costo from Oliva Cigar Company. And we got Why Not Scotch. I'm intrigued. To me, it's always time for Scotch, right?
Yeah.
What's the deal?
So,
Roger's ramble. Take it
right.
away.
So why not Scotch? I know a lot of people who drink whiskey that don't like Scotch. Like,
Yeah.
Why not? Why not Scotch?
Okay.
Why do you not like Scotch? Most people, like me, the first Scotch they had was crap, or it's something that they got off of somebody else who has been drinking Scotch for a while. So I was super peaty. This is ridiculous. Tastes like iodine. Tastes like Band-Aid. Tastes like smoke.
Or a Johnny
Band-Aid.
Walker
I heard
Red.
Band-Aid a lot.
Yeah. So, but you don't have to drink that type of Scotch. We've talked about it before in previous episodes. There are so many different regions, so many different types of Scotch out there that just because you don't like this one doesn't mean you won't like another one. The Glenlivet, for example, especially this one, the Nadura, this is not peaty at all.
No,
Very
you don't get
approachable.
that
It's
typical-
super. I mean, this is high ABV. It's 60% alcohol, but it doesn't really taste like it. It doesn't smell like it. You don't get the alcohol burn in your nose. You don't get the alcohol burn in your mouth. It's just a really, really nice, easy drinking, like Trey says, super approachable Scotch. So why not Scotch? If you've ever had Scotch before and you don't like it, or if you've ever been, wondered, what is Scotch? What's this all about? Try something like a Speyside. Try the Glenlivet.
Okay.
Try the Macallan. Try Glenmorangie. Try the Balvenie. These are all Speyside Scotches. They're all fantastic Scotches. And they're not going to taste like, you put your face over a campfire.
Right.
They're not going to taste like you're eating Curad bandages.
Yeah.
It's really good. They're fruity. They're light bodied. This one, for example, I get pear.
Yeah.
I get floral honey.
Right.
I get vanilla. I get a little bit of citrus maybe, but I mean, it just tastes like light fruits. It's just fantastic. So why not Scotch?
Now you say Speyside for
Yeah.
the non-Scotch guy
Right.
or gal out there. What do you mean by Speyside?
Well,
So-
maybe they should have watched one of our other episodes when we
that's-
discussed the different
yeah.
regions of
They
Scotch.
should have watched episode 6 where we had Drew Pearson,
You're right.
Dallas Cowboy Hall of Famer.
And there you go.
They should have watched that episode. We talked about space. We talked about the different regions, but Speyside in particular actually is the most concentrated area of whiskey making in the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Speyside region is about the size of Dallas, and they produce half of the whiskeys in Scotland.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's huge. It's I don't know. So that's just one of the regions of Scotland.
Yeah.
You've got the Speyside, you got Lowlands, you got the Highlands, you got the
Eastleigh.
Isla. And there's one more that's escaping the top of my head right now. I can't. They've got 3 distilleries, fantastic whiskey.
But
I
the
can't remember.
Speysides and the Highlands, if it's somebody that is new to Scotch,
Yeah.
focus on those,
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
and
Absolutely.
you will probably end up enjoying Scotch.
Yeah, I would recommend starting with the Speysides because they're super approachable. Again, they're light and they're fruity. Go into the Highlands. You're going to get some peat
I'm
from the
not like-
Highlands because there's not a lot of wood to burn,
Right.
right? Traditionally.
Right.
So they're going to be a little bit more peated. The Lowlands are a wide range. That's the biggest region of Scotland, right? So you can have anything from a Speyside style to an Isla style. So I would definitely recommend Speyside first. Go to Highlands, and then if you like it, which you should, just experiment, man.
Just don't start with an Isla.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't know.
That will
don't
wreck
start
your
with Isla.
palate.
No, it
They're
will.
so peaty.
Yeah.
I mean, just incredibly
Yeah.
peaty.
Yeah.
And,
So
very, very
I
different.
wouldn't recommend starting with start with Speyside, start with a Highland, and
with-
move on from there.
There you go.
Glenlivet, like it's the brand as a whole, from the 12 up to whatever, is very good, very approachable. You don't have to spend a lot more money to get something that you'll like.
Yeah.
Dalmore personally is my favorite line from top to bottom, and then Glenlivet's next.
Yeah.
Like it's just everything you try from them is going to be something that you're not going to dislike. You just might have something that you like more.
And it is Drew Pearson's favorite type of
Of course
Scotch.
it is.
So if you,
Right.
Dallas Cowboys fans out there, what are you going to say, Paul?
What does that run about?
That's a great question.
This is an $80 bottle.
$80.
This is $80.
So I'm going to need about $20 from you, Paul.
This is a little bit higher end. You can definitely get some Speysides that are cheaper. You can get a Glenlivet 12 that's going to be cheap. It's going to be like $40-50.
Yeah.
Right. So you don't have to go in $80. You don't have to go in $100. You don't have to go in $200. You can start off a little bit lower for sure.
Gotcha.
And I believe it's Glenlivet that makes the house Scotch for specs. I can't remember the name of
Okay.
it, but it's a 10-year-old Scotch. It's a 10-year-old Space Guide single malt Scotch. My daughter bought me a bottle of it for Christmas, maybe 5-6 years ago.
That's a different brand name,
And
but
was
it's
like,
made by them.
different brand name. It was like $25 for a single malt 10-year-old Scotch.
Right.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it at all.
Well, there you go. Why not Scotch? Try some Scotch. Start with Speyside, as our spirits aficionado, famous Roger Amos, recommends, and you guys are going to have a great experience. So appreciate that. Always an awesome Rogers ramble. Cheers, gentlemen.
Slanchava. I got short arms.
Look, I am.
Slanchava.
Oh yeah, you too.
That's nice, as Larry the Legend would
That's
say. Awesome. Well, transitioning over, the Dallas Cowboys are in preseason. Of course, they're still in training camp, but they lost on Saturday to the Denver Broncos 17-7. And I'm going to say I wasn't impressed. Now, to be fair, the Dallas Cowboys were playing almost exclusively backups, as were the Denver Broncos. So don't get excited. Dak Prescott wasn't in. Zeke Elliott wasn't in. None of our defensive guys, none of our cornerbacks, nobody on the starting side was in because you want to avoid injury. In fact, the Denver Broncos player was injured. One of the small handful of players that was a starter was actually in, and he got injured. So that's why you keep him out. But we'll go through some of the highlights. Cooper Rush in the first half started. Looked absolutely terrible. Went 12 of 20, 84 yards, and an interception. And then Ben DiNucci, as they call him, 9 for 16, 112 yards, 1 touchdown. Actually, a decent pass and catch to wide receiver Simi Fehoko, who had 2 receptions, 18 yards, and a touchdown. But obviously, the first question I have to ask, do we have a backup quarterback right now? Are we going to roll next season with what we got, DiNucci and Cooper Rush, Trey?
So Will Greer has been expected to compete with Cooper Rush, but he was injured and couldn't play in that game.
Yep.
And a lot of people thought that Cooper Rush was going to have the leg up at that point until he actually played.
Yeah.
And I think by not playing, Will Greer is now going to be our backup quarterback. And DiNucci, like, his stats were way better.
Yeah.
But that guy was throwing like sidearm passes for no reason. He was like, he made some really poor throws. And I just, in my mind, I don't know why they brought him back. Like, he sucked last year.
You just don't like Italian guys, man.
I mean, I'm not trying to be racist. I just think that he's a horrible quarterback.
I love spaghetti.
Yeah.
I don't know about you.
I love lamb.
Please button your jacket back up. I don't need to see that.
Always the awesome undershirt from famous Roger Amos. Yeah, I agree. The quarterback situation behind Dak, you got to worry.
It's scary.
It's a little
I
scary.
mean, Cooper Rush, like last year, he stepped in and won the game against Minnesota, and he looked great. And his rookie year as a undrafted free agent in the preseason, he looked incredible.
Right.
Got the backup job. Last season in the preseason, he looked like crap.
Yeah.
He's inconsistent, man.
He's just an arm. He's a training camp arm.
We need to move on.
Yeah, totally agree. Honestly, the best quarterback to me was Broncos 36-year-old journeyman Josh Johnson.
Yeah.
Was probably the most impressive quarterback.
He looked pretty good.
Has played for 14 different teams.
Damn.
I've never heard of the guy. He played for 14 teams.
Old. I mean, the guy, but he looked good.
Yeah.
I mean, he looked good in the preseason. Moving to the defense, very little pass rush on defense. Only 2 total pressures from the Dallas Cowboys defensive line. Again, I know backups, but still, you want to see more from the pass rush. Did a decent job in stopping the run of the Broncos, but there was absolutely no pass rush.
Well, both of those pressures ended up being penalties.
Right.
Which one of them was a garbage call.
Yeah.
Sam Williams, he hit him as soon as he threw it with his shoulder in the midsection, didn't fall on top of him. It was a really bad call. The other one, I think it was Basham, but he ended up hitting him with the crown of his head in the midsection. As stupid as I think the rule is, it is the rule, and you need to know better.
Yeah.
But, and the guy that refereed this game, he was the same one that refereed us last year when we had the one game with the most penalties in the whole year.
Right. You saying that there's a vendetta?
And
you leaning vendetta?
I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, but if a leopard has spots, he's a leopard. I mean, it is what it is.
He's from Oklahoma.
Yeah. And speaking of penalties, 17 penalties, 149 yards. And that to me is probably the most concerning thing I saw behind the backup quarterback was the penalties that continue. Horrible penalty game against 49ers when they got knocked out of the playoffs last season. And it's undisciplined play. It's not like hustle play where, they're doing something, you could see it. It was just undisciplined play left and right. Offensive line, defensive line, etc.
Sounds like looks like they're the Raiders of the NFC. Just can't play a solid game.
Don't you put that evil on us?
Jerry Jones put that evil on you guys when he said he wanted to pattern himself after Al Davis.
So 2 quick points about that is there were probably 4 penalties that were very ticky-tack.
Okay.
But so that still leaves you with 13, which is still way too many. I get it, right?
Exactly.
But if you look at McCarthy's history when he was the head coach in Green Bay, he was in the top half of the league in teams being penalized the least.
Yeah, right.
I don't think that it's because everybody's going back and forth. Is this a head coach thing? Is this a player thing?
Yeah.
But he never had this kind of track record when he was at Green Bay.
Yeah.
And I really find it hard to believe that he's just going to come here and just not teach disciplined football.
Right.
Well, I'll be fair, right? So it's preseason, right?
Yeah.
Preseason doesn't.
It is.
And you got rookies, and you got guys.
You got guys out there trying to make a name for themselves, trying to
But we did
win
it
a spot
last
on
year.
the team.
That's the problem.
They did, but again, you got young guys out there. They're amped up. They're hyped to make the team. They're playing for the Cowboys, obviously America's team, the world's team. We talked about it a couple weeks ago.
How hard did that hurt
for
you to say that?
It's dying right now.
I love it so much.
Call 911. But you got young guys out there trying to make the team. They're trying to make a name for themselves. So they're out there trying to prove themselves.
Yeah.
And they're going to go above and beyond.
Yeah.
And they're going to do stupid things.
But if we didn't have the track record for last year being the most penalized team,
that's the carryover.
I would look at it that way too.
It's a pattern, and that's the fear that I have for sure. Last one, Lirim Hiralahu, wide right from 56 yards late in the fourth quarter. The kicking, it's just so it scares the crap out of me. It really does. Kicking is something that should be automatic, should be a no-brainer. And with these kickers that we have on the Cowboys, it's just not automatic. And
he's so bad they brought back Brett Maher,
right?
Which could kick a 62-yarder right down the middle, and could not kick a 40-yarder to save his life.
Exactly.
That guy is also garbage. So
we're gonna
here we are.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely keep an eye on the kicking game. The Cowboys play the LA Chargers this Saturday, 9 p.m. Central. And they just practiced with them today. And then, of course, they'll return to Texas for the final week of practice ahead of hosting the Seattle Seahawks on August 26th. And they'll only play one game at AT&T Stadium during the preseason. And then, of course, the regular season begins September 11th versus Tampa Bay. So far, not impressed with what the Cowboys are putting out there. But it is the backup show. So maybe we give them a little bit of grace.
Real quick. I was listening to the fan today on my way in, and they've seen the practice today, right? None of us saw it, but they said that the offensive line for the Chargers were put back on their heels the entire practice.
Yeah, well, that's good.
That's a positive thing.
That's definitely a positive. And speaking of positives, we're going to wrap up the DFW Sports Wrap when we come back after these messages and have the final thoughts from the guys. Get our final thought from our special guest, Paul Costos. So come back right after these messages.
Yeah.
And welcome back to episode 12 of Elite Aficionados. I'm your host, Matt Thorne, along with famous Roger Amos, Doc Trey Andrews, and our special guest, Paul Costos from Oliva Cigars. Wrapping up the DFW Sports Talk, Texas Rangers. Man, what a big week. First it began, Texas Rangers manager Chris Woodward fired. He had a 211 and 287 record since 2018. And then Texas Rangers owner Ray Davis announced president of baseball operations John Daniels fired after 17 years. And the quote, this was fascinating to me. Ray Davis said, "The bottom line is we have not had a winning record since 2016, and for much of that time have not been competitive in the AL West division. I mean, 6th losing season record in a row, unless they win 29 of the next 46 games. Probably not going to happen." And of course, they spent a record $500 million in the offseason. Are we surprised? Are we shocked at all, Trey, that John Daniels is finally gone?
Oh, I'm shocked.
Really? You're shocked?
Yeah.
Wow.
He should have been gone 10 years ago.
Okay.
They've
Shocked
kept
that
him
it didn't happen
around,
sooner.
and they've led us all on to believe that the next season and the next season and the next season is going to be different. That guy, he needs to be gone.
Yeah.
He hasn't done a damn thing since Nolan Ryan was here.
Right, and that's exactly what.
Which means he hasn't done a damn thing.
Right,
Fair enough.
Right, because Nolan Ryan to me brought when Nolan Ryan decided to join the front office, it took the Rangers to another level. We had credibility.
Yep.
All of a sudden, we were real to, I think, a lot of the players out there that maybe didn't take the Texas Rangers seriously. All of a sudden, Nolan Ryan is involved, and we're being taken seriously. And ever since then, it has just been a downward spiral.
Because him and John Daniels didn't get along.
Yeah, exactly.
But now, Gone Daniels
right, gone
is gone.
Okay.
And Chris Young, which John Daniels hired to be his general manager, I am thrilled. This is a day of excitement, of celebration. I have wanted this guy to be gone for 10 years. And you can ask anybody that I've talked sports with. I have been saying he needs to be gone, needs to be gone, needs to be gone.
Yeah.
Chris Woodward, I think he got a raw deal.
Yeah.
I think that they haven't given him anybody on his team to actually have a legitimate chance of winning.
Wait, so the $500 million they spent in the offseason?
Until this year.
Oh, okay. All right.
But there's still a lot of other players that they need to fill the club with, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And I've heard that he might be a little soft.
Yeah.
And that they might need somebody that's a little more old school. So I hate that he's gone because he seemed like an incredible guy and a great developmental coach.
Sure.
But we're at a point now where we don't need that much development.
Right.
I think he's going to be an incredible AAA coach or manager.
Okay.
I really do.
Very interesting. Paul, I know you're a Boston guy. You follow the Rangers at all?
I don't really get big time into baseball until the playoffs. So, but I watch them on the news and I see what they're doing, and I hear a lot. So.
You root for Boston, and then on occasion you look over.
No, I don't dislike the Rangers.
Fair enough. Well, as Trey alluded to, the current general manager, Chris Young, will take over all aspects of baseball operations. So Chris Young sliding in. What do you think about that, Trey? Is that a good move? Do you like Chris Young as a baseball operations guy?
Chris Young is incredibly intelligent.
Okay.
Texas
kid, right?
He played for us.
Yeah.
He was a pitcher for us.
Right.
And I love the fact that he's back. I really thought that he would end up being the guy instead of John Daniels, but I thought it'd be a couple more seasons.
Interesting.
But I'm truly excited, man. I think Chris Young can make a big difference. He is a little bit of an analytics guy.
Okay.
But he also played, and he also is an old school guy, even though he didn't play that long ago.
Right.
And I think that he's going to come in and he's going to be able to get a really good hybrid of old school and analytics. And I think that's where baseball needs to be.
That's interesting. So you like the balance between analytics and hybrid. And he's a former pitcher. That's the thing. So let's be honest, the Rangers always struggle with pitching. They always have. They always seem to. So when Nolan was there, of course, all of a sudden our pitching was a lot better. And I agree. I think Chris Young has a great opportunity here. Well, the Texas Rangers standing 52 wins, 64 losses, third place in the AL West, 22 games back from leaders Houston Astros. And we got to mention it, Kansas City Royals, 48 wins, 70 losses, fourth place in the AL Central, 14 and a half games back from leader Minnesota Twins. You know, there's especially now with all these changes. You feel it better, Raj?
I mean, hey, they're not mathematically eliminated yet, so I still have hope.
We have a bet going that I'm going to win, but he will not admit it until the last day of the season.
The Royals as a team
I
this
think
year
you're
are
safe.
trash. They should have been a whole lot better. But as long as I don't lose to Trey, I'm fine.
We should have been a whole lot better too. Like
Yeah.
all of the
Oh,
one-run games that we lost, if we would have won half of those, we would actually be in the wild card hunt.
Yeah.
If with the fifth, we'd all be drunk.
Yeah. There you go.
If Kansas City didn't suck, I would probably not win this bet.
There you go. All right. And the bet is the best record at the end of the season.
Yep.
Right? Okay. Not playoffs, nothing like
Nope.
that. Best record. First time I've ever followed the Kansas City Royals. Going to be totally honest. I could care less, but this season I'm tracking it like
Oh,
a
yeah.
hawk because I want to know who wins. I want to be there for this moment.
What's it for?
I mean, well, that's
A cigar.
a cigar.
Come
Yeah.
on, man.
But
He owns a cigar shop, man.
but we've been talking about it now for 12 episodes almost on air. So it's a
And as much as I love you, Paul, it's not going to be an Oliva.
A cigar.
There you go. Well, final thoughts from the guys. We always like to pause for a moment, give the guys an
Oh, it's gonna be a
opportunity to
Davidoff
talk
or an
about the
Abbey.
last things they want to talk about. Roger, you had some big news last week. What do you got this week?
So I wanted to give a shout out to. It's going to be a little bit. It's going to take me a minute to get through this. Okay.
All right.
So
Take your time.
AFL champion, Dallas Texan,
Yeah.
two-time All-Pro, seven-time Pro Bowl, Super Bowl I participant, Super Bowl IV winning MVP, Lynn Dawson.
Never heard of her.
Oh,
I want to give a shout out to
come
him,
on.
his family, and his loved ones because he entered hospice care just this last week. So
And one of the great,
One of the
media
greatest-
men, too.
yeah, I mean,
great,
yeah.
and
he was the play-by-play guy for the Chiefs for years. I grew up listening to this guy on the radio, watching. He was the CBS AFC analyst for years. Walter Payton Walter Payton Man of the Year guy. One of the best quarterbacks that nobody's ever heard of in the history of the NFL has entered hospice care. So
no,
shout out to him, his family, his friends, and loved
praying
ones.
for them.
So
Yeah, for sure.
God bless you, Lynn Dawson.
Yeah.
God bless you,
One of the
Lynn
great
Dawson.
ones. One of the greats indeed. Paul, I'm going to give you a chance here. I know you talked a little bit about what's coming out. What else you got, my friend?
What else do we got? Shoot. What else do we got? We got the 135th anniversary Serie V coming out again.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, that
okay.
came out last year. It was a huge hit.
Very cool.
We blew them out.
Yeah. So when they get them in, come see
100,
Trey.
wait, did you say 135th?
That's how long the Oliva family's been
Wow.
in the tobacco business. They started growing tobacco in Cuba. So,
Unbelievable.
yeah.
135 years. That's incredible.
So if you haven't tried one of the cigars, go to Elite, grab one, and
Right.
you'll enjoy it.
That's awesome.
So it's the Oliva V blend,
Yeah.
but it's a different size that a lot of people have told us it looks like a baseball bat,
Okay.
but
All right.
it's
It's massive then. It's pretty big.
no, it's not. It really
Oh,
isn't.
It's about the
But it's
size
the
of what we
shape.
had.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
But it's just the flavor profile is different than the actual Oliva V blend.
I
It's
see.
really nice.
Okay. Very interesting. Great stuff. Any shout out? Any kids or
Shout-
any family you want to give a shout out to?
I want to shout out to my grandson Wyatt, who started kindergarten today.
Hey,
Nice.
there you go. Starting school in the
Yeah.
DFW Metroplex for sure.
Yep.
You said Wyatt.
Wyatt. Yeah.
Wyatt. All right. Starting kindergarten. I bet Mama was probably pretty
Oh yeah.
emotional about
Oh
that.
yeah. And grandma.
And grandma too. Oh, they were both crying. Oh man,
Oh,
boy,
yeah.
it was a tissue fest. That's awesome. Hey, thanks, Paul. Really
Thank you guys
appreciate
for having me. I had a lot of fun.
it. Absolutely, man. You've been
I
a
love
great
it, man.
guest. Great guest. Trey, final thoughts, my friend.
So I got two thoughts. One super happy, one pretty sad.
Okay.
My grandson turned 3 yesterday.
Wow,
And
congratulations.
he
Happy
is,
birthday.
as most of you guys know, he is my favorite human being.
Oh, that's awesome.
And my son, my wife, his mom, they all had the day off. They took him to the Dallas World Aquarium.
Beautiful,
And
awesome place.
he had an amazing time. I got to FaceTime him last night while he was playing with his dinosaurs, and told him happy birthday. And the kid is absolutely the highlight of my life. I love my son, but my grandson is the absolute light of my eye.
That's awesome.
On the flip side, my mother-in-law, she passed away about 1.5 years ago,
Wow.
and today would have been her 74th birthday.
74. Wow.
And
yeah,
I'm
cheers.
sure my sister's not watching us right now, so I don't have to apologize to her, but my mother-in-law was way more of a mother to me than my actual mom.
Okay.
Some of you guys know my wife and I have been together off and on since middle school,
Oh, wow.
and her mom has absolutely been my mom for years and years. And she got cancer, and it was a little bit of a miserable time for her, and I'm happy that she is in a better place.
Yeah.
But it happened right before Christmas, not this past one, but the one before, and it made for a very nullified Christmas for us. But I love you, and I always will, and thank you for everything you ever did for me. So
Very
shout out to Linda.
Very cool. And I'm sure it's a tough day for Stephanie as well.
Oh, yeah.
And the whole family. I'm
Yeah.
sure they're out. Well, a great tribute, my friend, is always very eloquent and quite beautiful. And of course, happy heavenly birthday to your mother-in-law, 74 years young today. My final shout out today was to my son, Matthew, who is a senior at Wiley East High School. He is beginning his senior year. It is hard to believe that my youngest son, my youngest child, is a senior in high school. I can't believe it. I always feel old when I wake up in the morning and my
Try having a
back
grandson.
hurts, right?
You should now.
And now I feel especially old with the fact that my son is beginning his senior year. I'm so proud of you, Matthew. He's such a great man of honor, integrity. He's a great kid.
Badass kiddo.
He really is. He's a great kid, and I'm so proud of him. So that is my final shout out. So final shout out to you, Matthew, and all that. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that the Dallas Sidekicks are playing next season at the Allen Event Center. You can go and get season tickets. They start December 10th is their first home game. Go, please. If you don't like soccer, you will love indoor soccer. It's hockey with a soccer ball. I know soccer, everybody's like boring. It's low scoring, yada, yada, yada. I know Trey is not a huge soccer guy. That's okay.
I play rugby.
You play rugby. That's all right. But listen, indoor soccer, it's high scoring. It's fast. It's fun. It's furious. It's awesome. It's like hockey with a soccer ball. Go check it out, DallasSidekicks.com. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention, too, the Mesquite Outlaws are back in and playing this year in the league. So MesquiteOutlaws.com. Tattoo, the great Tattoo. Many people know him from back in the day.
Dallas
I
Sidekicks.
didn't grow up here, and I know who Tattoo is.
You knew who Tattoo
Yeah.
was. Tattoo is the coach of the Mesquite Outlaws, and that's also an awesome franchise. They play at the Mesquite Arena in Mesquite. So if you can't make it to Allen, don't worry. Go to Mesquite. You've got an opportunity to watch some great professional soccer in Mesquite as
So
well.
you're saying we have two teams,
Two pro teams in the
within
DFW Metroplex.
15, 20-minute drive from here,
It is indeed.
and they serve booze.
And they serve booze every game. You can get a beer.
It's not going to happen in football. Don't even try
Probably
it.
not that, but
Unfortunately, it's not going to be a Glenlivet.
I like beer.
But
I like beer.
It's good stuff. So, hey, well, great show today. Hey, school is starting up and summer is coming to an end. So we're going to take some time off for the next several weeks. So join us for the next episode of Elite Aficionados in the coming months. As always, we're talking cigars, spirits, and sports, and we'll have an exciting lineup of special guests, featured cigars, and spirits. For Doc Trey Andrews, famous Roger Amos, producer RJ Alvarade, who's running the show for us, and Paul Costo from Oliva Cigar, and myself, God bless and be elite.
Be elite.